Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Sun Up on 7. What you're looking at on your screen is currently what's happening at Western Regional Hospital. So as we informed you, there's a walkout happening as regards to the nurses and medical staff at the different hospitals. This is the one at Western Regional Hospital. We're going to get into going into our first conversation with Mr. Jose Sanchez. Nevertheless, after the conversation with him, we'll be joined by Courtney Menzies, who is live from Western Regional Hospital. So let's get going with this exciting conversation. Today we're getting to know Jose Sanchez a bit better, and he's been involved in many international collaborations. One of most recent ones has been the involvement with Netflix in the famous John McAfee documentary. And there's other things that you have been involved with, and of course there's stuff on the horizon waiting.
Yes.
But let's get to find out, how are you feeling today? It's Monday, you got...
It's
how are you
a
feeling
bit
today?
hectic, actually. I was up from 5 this morning trying to just finish some work on the computer at home. So just like about 5 minutes ago, Mr. Salsa, you come in, I'm like almost on the way. I had to
we know how that goes.
And you put the blaze and thing when you even left out of your house yet, Joe?
Yeah, I make you know and I just
Then
through all the shortcuts thing, cut through
That's good part when you know the
through the
shortcuts,
market there and the leafish area and thing there and zip zap out.
All right.
But you're here and we're so thankful.
We're
to
so
have this
thankful for you joining us,
especially
indeed.
you know, with your wealth of experience. I think with that, for the younger viewers that maybe are not familiar with you or just would like to get to know you better, let's talk a little bit about your journey in media. Like, what made you start thinking that I wanted to get into media communications, what I wanted to be a journalist, tell the story, give me the
that one was,
scoop.
man, that's a funny, it's not a funny story, but it was an easy enough one in that I once heard someone said you always look into your back. I'll paint the great picture of what it's like. They say you look into your backyard to find what your strengths are. You look in there like diamonds in the rough. It's there, you don't know what it is. And I said, well, I've always done art. I've always been into writing. That's always been my passion. I even have a poetry book that I published once. And so what I did was, at some point I said, I need to find something to do when I was finishing school. And it was either like maybe go, do cards at the casino, or and somebody said, here's an opportunity. There's a opportunity in media for a year. And I was already doing like the school newspapers at SJC and at UCB at the time. So it was a natural transition to say jumping into that and into teaching. Those have been the two things I started off with, So that pushed me into it. Eventually, I had a 2-year communications project that, it did better in terms of, the financial gains. And ever since then, it's been toward communications projects. But however, the media experience that I gained, in Belize and outside, that helped me to like hook up with a lot of international projects. I'm not the senior person in that game. It would be people like Brent Toombs and Javier Molina. They've set the standard there, so I've connected with them at times. But so we've done like things from Russia Today, which is like banned around the world right now. They've done stuff here in Belize as well. There's Vice. Of course, most people know the Vice stuff that happens. They've done Manatees. They've done Crime. That's for Vice TV. And then there's also Vice.com, which has always been doing written pieces as well. And because of the links, initially one of my first links was actually with CNN. They were actually the first person to interview McAfee on the run in Belize. Oh. Not actually Vice that you see in this video. So they actually followed up on CNN. If you notice in the airport, they were looking at the TV and you see CNN.
Yeah.
That was the first interview with him.
Oh.
So they came after. So all that while we was chilling in Belize while on the run. And those different things led to even productions that never occurred. But I still get paid to do the background for things like for NBC. Like some gringo get killed, for example, in Belize, they would call me to look into stuff for them as well. And just has been a great progression whereby, like, in terms of just doing media internationally, it's mainly with Thomson Reuters Foundation, which I did a workshop in Florida with them. But it's just like for big things, like whether it's like elections, the politics, the economics, that sort of things, the big things, only that I would really cover for outside Belize.
Okay.
And for locally, if whatever project I'm doing, then I would push stuff into the media. And like sometimes people say, hey, do you ever do stories like this story, that story? I'm like, and I tell them, I laugh because I said, actually, my story, that's my interview, my video, you just don't know because, you send it out to all media to cover.
Jose mentioned UCB, and I was like, wow, that's like really back in the day, right?
Yeah,
so we can definitely hear that you've been quite involved in this realm of work, and sharing, the spaces you've been. You can see the growth that you've taken, the skills and everything that you've come with it. Is there like a particular thing or particular theme that you would gravitate to when it comes to the kind of production that you do?
No, because I think in terms of what International is looking for, they're looking for things that are more spicy. So naturally that goes towards things like crime. But however, now in my scope of work, I've been doing like videos, for example, with NGOs.
Okay.
So I would take nature locally, happily, even international NGOs. Like right now I'm working on a video for EDF, Environmental Defense Fund. But those are the good ones that you go in nature, you experience community. I prefer dealing with community and people. That's more fun. However, when you're dealing with stuff with crime, it's still you're dealing with people. Maybe initially it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but now you reach a point whereby going to a neighborhood, just pull up and some people like the who that, then they're like, oh, it's just Sanchez. And these are the leaders, Okay. So, and it feels good that you can connect to people on every level because then you get to understand what's going on with them or what their frustrations in life are or their concerns are with, for example, with legalization of marijuana is a concern for them because they feel that they will be displaced. And if you think about it, how does a person feel in that they've been killing each other over this business, and then you're saying, no, we're going to legalize it, but you need to get a license. So you've been going to jail, your family's being killed, but we're going to make it legal finally, but you will no longer be able to do it because the license, everybody knows the license is going to go in certain directions. So and these are the stories that need to be told that I enjoy telling.
Okay, so I mean, there's definitely like so much value in storytelling. You can transform the lives of many persons or even just one person, exactly, perspectives. But what do you think would you consider like your role in the storytelling? Because you're saying you like community work,
so
that kind of thing. But
with international productions, my roles are normally very specific in that I make it happen, Okay. I will find the people to speak to, I'll make it happen. So for example, the only reason why, for example, the National Geographic, they have a special coming out on a show called Traffic at Mariana Van Zeller in December. And that show is specifically dealing with Crips and Bloods in Los Angeles, Belizean Crips and Bloods in Los Angeles, who export gang culture to Belize. So, for example, we had a 10-member crew that came for that. But prior to that, I have to do the groundwork, layout, who we're going to talk to, who we're going to interview in these neighborhoods. And actually, that's how I met the famous Mr. Tanga. He was supposed to interview with us, but a week before the crew arrived, he died. So when they landed in Belize, the first thing they said, Lord, maybe let's check out the funeral, because we had permission from the wife as well to do that. And so when they went, they were like, this is like, and they were like, these are guys that are big and buff, and they're sweating like men. They're like, we've never been to they've been all around the world doing cartels, and they're like, we've never been to a funeral like this. I said, listen, we in Belize have never been to a funeral like this either. So please don't feel this is normal.
Okay.
Because that was out there.
That was a different one, yeah. The whole funeral is something where I'm sure people weren't used to, because we watch funerals. I feel like because of COVID, everybody to watch funerals, but that's on a different level.
Yeah, unfortunately, people don't always see the good side or when things turn positive. For example, I know, like in the case, because like specifically Tanga had a lot of, love issues. But recently, like the mothers of his children, one of the children had a birthday party, the daughter, and the mothers now, we're talking just mothers, are there, they're sharing love. Like, it's a brother and sister situation now. So like those things don't get advertised because they're not part of the drama. But that one comes out in December. But for that was very tough because we really had to balance how do you speak to this group, then go to that group. So we did a lot of like coaxing, sitting down conversations, and then maybe like the end of the week or a few days later, then those interviews take place. So but for that one, people had to cover their faces because we know this whole thing about gangs now that you can't show faces. The one that you're seeing right now with Vice, that was very interesting. Like that guy right there with the mask on, man, he was just really good. He was really doing his stuff. But sometimes people are a bit rough, as well. Like this guy right there, someone just tried to shoot him just before he pulled up. He wasn't part of that. He wasn't supposed to be in this. He just ran from a attempted shooting incident and ended up in that interview. But people like the prison, sometimes they're very generous to speak to us, like Mr. Pipersburg. Hopefully he'll get his probation at some point. I mean, he was convicted, of murder as well in that Boeing incident. And but he was part of that gang lifestyle. And for all the years I go to the prison, he's working right in the office, in the main office. With, he has trust, so definitely like he has changed his life. So when they give us people to talk to, it's not to say the baddest of the bad, but people who do want to reform you know. And I feel like my role in that is to do that with the production. So let them know it's not just about people being bad. It's about people wanting better for themselves. So I try to make them understand.
So give them like a whole round perspective, right? Rather than just being like,
yeah. So
them one
they may
angle.
they might have their motives, and like, hey, I'm coming to do a story on crime because they say crime in Belize is bad. But we try to give them what's the reality of the situation on the ground.
John, I have one question. So you're saying like you laid the groundwork, and I feel what's very critical there is establishing rapport, establishing that trusting relationship where people feel like I can share my story with you. I mean, and for people that are watching this conversation right now and might want to like venture into journalism or want to venture into creating documentaries, what do you feel is that key thing that makes it able for you to being able to create a relationship but also get the most out of the story?
For creating a relationship, and be honest, you have to be real. You can't, like, I realize sometimes people get into media because they want to be on TV or want to be seen. It's never going to work because you have to be out there in the hot sun or late at night or 3 in the morning, whatever it is. I mean, sometimes you're going to see things that you're going to see people's brains sometimes on the ground, so you don't know. So you have to be strong in that. You can't be crying every time somebody gets hurt. That's not your job. Your job is to be professional. Okay. And so after a while, you need to recognize it is what it is for the rough stuff. The good stuff will come too, and sometimes it's fast, but you really have to be able to, and I always tell people, you have to be able to treat the person that cleans the drain with the same respect as you would give to the Prime Minister.
Right.
You have to speak to them both ways, and that's the way you have to go with everybody you talk to, and sometimes the truth is, but as a journalist, one of the things you have to do, you have to act like you own the place. So there are places you're not supposed to go. You just walk in, shake your hand, and you just go.
Right.
Oh, so you did that before?
Of course. It's not only Sharice that does that, I do that as well. I do that to this day. I do that to this day. I just go because...
You might tell that story just so then it stopped, right? You realize
I was going to. Yeah, I did. I zipped right.
I saw that. I caught that.
On that one. I zipped on that one. Just last week I did that, actually, but I zipped on that. But it makes sense to do that because that's how you get around,
So you have to...
We have 2 more things before we wrap up this segment. One, I want to ask because... doing media, doing journalism, but also doing communication is not an easy job. People see these amazing stories, but they don't know the work that goes through it. Tell me about the most difficult throughout your entire career, because you've done a lot. What has been the most difficult story production that you've had to work with, and why was it so difficult?
Those are different. Let me see. I'm trying to. I wanted to paint pretty pictures today, but
no man, we have to be real. Just talk about real.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I would say the most difficult story happened maybe in my first year trying to do journalism, and I can tell exactly what it was. We were driving around Mahogany Street and right around Police Street, and next thing we know, we see like a pickup and a Volvo pull up around the corner, and then a minivan, a yellow pickup. And all of a sudden, we see these guys jumping out of the Volvo, shotgun throwing in back of this little pickup. All these guns and people, everybody jump out of one vehicle, and then jump into the next 2 vehicles. I'm like, what? I feel like somebody get robbed. I'm on the scene. I have a great story. Like,
really?
I'm young and green.
Wow, okay.
And
you're there.
We not see nothing. So we're up on Police Street. The driver, he knocked around the corner. And we'd like try. I don't know how he sniffed it out, but he turned one of the street where they're like down past the Mahogany Complex building. And I saw this guy, I remember this guy going to Holler Primary School and he never like one driver now for a minister, And he never ran the whole baby and thing. And like, hey, where they going? Like, I try to figure out what happened. By any chance, what happened and all. And he just the whole baby and thing, but he never pay me no mind. And you know how, I don't know what culture they wear like one Lee red dot something, I see on a Lee forehead.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so at some point I noticed like, he got Indian baby while I the top, I say a Lee red dot. And next thing I know, like, the lyric that get bigger and bigger. Basically, what happened was that these guys that we just saw, they went to assassinate him. And the baby got a bullet in the forehead. And that's what I was seeing. And that was the thing I could never forget. And after that, I said, you know what? You go do a murder. I don't need to see another dead body, because that was an infant. And that guy migrated to the States, and 14 years later, his son that has the same name was murdered right along the Mahogany as well. But he never came back to Belize. But that was the story that made me realize, I don't need to see the body. I don't need to do things. I can do the story after that. That's the only one that affected me to say after that, all right, I'll be fine at every other scene after that to do any other story. But that's the one.
That's chilling.
Yeah, the name of that guy was Clay Monsanto. He was the driver for Dickie Bradley at the time.
Wow.
But that one kept to me. That was difficult story to cover. This last story was fun and difficult.
Which one?
This last one at Vice. But however, in terms of a little bit being stressed. Even though like there was a lot of pieces to cover, so many people, we had drivers to attend to, etc., menus to deal with, dealing with this gang or we're dealing with this person there, and then we have like all these places. It was fun, but in terms of difficulty, probably the most fun and stressful shoot was when we did Russia Today. It was a long time ago, whereby they wanted to cover so much, and we just kept driving. We did the crime story of the gangs, and then we decided, all right, no, they want to go to Orange Walk. We want to do a Mennonite story, so we went to Orange Walk to do the school and the woodwork, and then we went to Spanish Lookout. Then we got into the chicken processing plant, and then they were like, we need to do a Guatemala story too. And so next thing you know, I had to call some friends. We did the whole thing whereby the former mayor of Benque met us. We went over the border, then we did the whole Arenal.
Wow. Okay.
And
your versatility is amazing. I mean, and your networking too.
But we named done that. They said they want to do an Obia story. Can I have Obia? We could only find Obia people at PG for some reason. And then while we're there, then we also did I told them, well, if you really want to, it's peaceful in Arenal with the football field on both sides. So we had a game and trophy and everything for the kids, and I'm like, all right, well, we try to go to Sarsoon, we're going to have trouble. So we call Wilma here, get funny, the Pac-Man boats, the Inky, Binky, whatever his boats are named. And they set up the cameras then. As we get this, of course, the Guatemala one boat pull up, did the whole conversation about, you need your papeles and this and that and that. But all of that was like day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, like sleep 3 hours. And we did that in about 10 days. So some other, like, they thought they were here for months. Like, no, we did this story in 10 days. We covered all of these bases. The Oba story never ran down, but I was Russia Today. I think they got blocked now, though.
All right. So, Jose, as you wind on this conversation, you're saying that you're working on National Geographic, on a documentary for them. Can you give us some details about that?
That one, as I mentioned, that one is called Trafficked. With Mariana Venzela. She's a Peabody Award winner. I believe she was nominated for 2 awards last month as well. And that will be an episode on her series. Okay. She deals with cartels. She deals with, those racist biker gangs. Like, every episode is like about an hour long. And our team goes all around the world. And so that one will come out sometime in December in Nat Geo itself. But I do my own documentary work as well. So that is beautiful. I was there, but of course that doesn't.
It's always our like great pride to see our Belizeans being highlighted in these like international stages, and we're so proud of you, and we look forward to more of the work that you're going to be doing.
Hopefully, the next one, I'm crossing my fingers that the next one is going to be very good, but you will know when you know.
Well, please, by all means, come and showcase it here.
I was going to say showcase it here, but also for people like in the diaspora, but in general, just our viewers, give your contact information in case they want to collab. Have you do some production for them? Like, come on, share your links so people know
social
where
media
to get
handles as well.
I do photography as well. So for that, I send it to my Belize Wired account on Instagram, or I would send them to my Jose Sanchez Facebook, or my WhatsApp +501 6M1 1010 as well. Like, those are the main ways that people would contact me.
Beautiful.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Well, this was a lovely conversation. I know you have any more report you need to do?
Not really, not right now. I have some stuff I'm working on, but I have to leave it at that.
Okay.
Until.
Okay, well, thank you so much for this conversation. We truly appreciate it. People, check out the National Geographic documentary that's coming out in November. December, November. So I'm hoping you guys can follow his Facebook page as well to know when that's going to be airing, and make sure you get the scoop, but also following for all of the different things that you're going to be dipping your hand into, because it seems that you dip your hand all over the place.
Oh, we forget to mention McAfee is dead, so that's the only thing we didn't say, he is dead, so.
Well, you kind of left the
you should have left that, yes.
Yeah.
I forgot the young lady's name. She said how,
I forget her name as well.
She said she got called 2 weeks after.
You know that the uncle, the attorney, has some place in Belizean history as well. There were some Belizean soldiers, BDF, that were taken by Guatemala around the border at some point in history. And there was an attorney who got them on a plane and flown back to Belize. The attorney general at the time, that same uncle. So he has some historical significance to us as well. I just shocked that was her uncle,
Look at that.
Is it connect?
Belize
But
is a small
apparently,
world. Who also needs to connect?
Yeah.
But we also must go to our next commercial break, guys. When we are back, we're going to be talking to Courtney and getting the inside scoop on the walkout. So stay tuned for an exciting conversation and basically demonstration too as well. We'll be right back.